What's going on, gamers? So, some interesting news going on here with Steam, and that is the Steam Deck OLED. And we saw the other original model too being canceled. It seems like with the way prices are going up, Valve may be canceling stuff. So, yeah, this is weird. We're gonna see what's gonna be going on in this video here by High Tech Lowlife. He literally just posted his video not too long ago, so I'm over here reacting to it. And yeah, what we have here is information, not only on his video, but in other sources saying that the Steam Deck OLED is disappearing and Valve is not restocking it. So they're thinking that they probably got enough what they wanted out of this. And with the way this market is, it's pretty much going to be going away. So let's find out what's really going on and more details with this video right here. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, I know the Switch 2 market is very healthy. I had somebody say that the Switch 2 drove it out, and I was like, oh, I don't think that's necessarily the case because Valve was not in competition with them like that. Basically, what happened is ridiculous price parts, and they're thinking about the Steam machine, so they're going to be focusing on that. So let's go.
If you were to go to the Steam Deck's page as of February the 11th, 2026, you'll find that the Steam Deck is sold out. All varieties. A few months ago, the Steam Deck LCD was officially discontinued, meaning of course the Steam Deck OLED became the only Steam Deck you could buy, and the buy-in price became higher too. It's not exactly a price increase, but the lower end SKU no longer exists, so it's effectively a de facto price increase. But Steam Deck OLEDs are gone, at least in the US. I have read reports that as of the making of this video, Steam Deck OLEDs are still available in Europe in case you live there. This comes as a bit of a surprise because there was no indication that the Steam Deck LCD would be discontinued. And honestly, I've never seen the Steam Deck OLEDs be sold out ever. Historically, whenever Steam Decks weren't available immediately, they were always back-ordered, meaning Valve.
Yeah, he's right about that for sure. You could always see them on the website. This is the first time ever. And it says a lot about the situation that Valve is in with the Steam machine.
Still take your money and then you'd get a Steam Deck a little later because, you know, they were still manufacturing. The original Steam Deck itself was born during the silicon chip shortage we had about 4 years ago almost. And now with this ongoing RAM apocalypse, one really has to wonder, was both the Steam Deck LCD and the Steam Deck OLED a victim of the RAM apocalypse? It sounds almost conspiratorial, but I do firmly believe the Steam Deck OLED and the Steam Deck LCD died because Valve couldn't make these Steam Decks affordable anymore, at least not at the current margins they have. For whatever reason, people believe that the Steam Decks were subsidized, like consoles would be, you know, like a loss leader almost. But Valve has historically stated that that wasn't necessarily the case, that it's not some sort of loss leader. And so, I mean, at the current RAM prices, it seems like it's possible that the Steam Deck OLED was just unsustainable at its current price.
Yeah, it's weird too, because you would think with the specs now, they have to put the prices down, but the way this market is going, everything is going up this generation. It's insane. And Valve does not want to subsidize that much, so they're being forced into a corner, and they realize there's no point of doing this if I'm just going to keep on taking losses. So we're just going to can it for now. We have enough. Let's focus on the Steam machine. And then they don't even have a price or date for that either. So yeah, I mean, this says a lot about the PC handheld market. It's rough. I see Microsoft saying they want to work on an Xbox handheld. Well, that's going to be a while before that happens because this market needs to get right. Even that ROG Ally had to go up, and that's not good because that wasn't selling either. And that's why I was telling people that it's really Nintendo that is the handheld industry. They've made it this way anyways. That's why these other devices exist. And I'm sorry that you guys probably will not be able to get one if it's sold out. That kind of sucks. You have to look for a used one somewhere or find some way to order one in Europe if you still want to get one, if that's what you were looking for. Outside of that, you'd have to wait on Sony to drop their handheld because they're going to do that because the market is open because of Nintendo. That's what I was trying to tell people. But yeah, seeing this is interesting because Valve makes enough money, but they just don't want to play that game, it seems. And I guess they're being intelligent about that. But yeah, I mean, they're not saying anything either, so hopefully they do.
To raise the prices like right now would be kind of bad optics. I mean, it's not that hard to believe. A company would stop making a product because it's simply unprofitable to do so anymore. Now, one thing to mention is that unlike the Steam Deck LCD, the Steam Deck OLED does not have a message saying that it's been discontinued. Like, you can see this little message about the Steam Deck LCD right here. says it's discontinued, and once they sell everything out, it's going to be gone forever. But nothing like that has been said about the Steam Deck OLED. Now, in the future, Valve could put out a message saying that the OLED is no longer in production. But then that really begs the question, why are both of the Steam Decks not in production anymore? But given every single memory manufacturer wants to prioritize AI companies, it's no surprise that there probably just isn't enough to spare to Valve. Consumer computers in general, which yes includes gaming PCs and the Steam Deck, are just a lower priority for these memory companies than, you know, those big AI data center servers.
It is, and it's not a huge market that sells millions and millions and millions every year. You know what I mean? It's very niche. So they're thinking about just canning it, and Valve doesn't want to jack the price up and sell it at that rate and be seen as anti-consumer. So they're just hitting the stop button. I can understand that because you're just being forced in that position, just like they're being forced to sell the Steam machine a lot higher. I obviously would not see Valve being happy about any of this. They don't want any of this going on, but that's just the way things are going. Like I said, the PC market is being screwed big time.
I don't want to be too conspiratorial because Valve hasn't officially stated that they've stopped manufacturing the Steam OLEDs, but it's hard not to think that they are at least in part affected by the current market. If you recall earlier, Valve admitted that it's in part thanks to the current market conditions that we A, don't know the price of the Steam machine or the Steam frame, and B, we don't really have a release date either. I just find it unusual that the Steam Deck is just sold out without any word of there being a true Steam Deck successor. We know that a Steam Deck 2 is coming, but we've seen no official announcements or any real details whatsoever. Or anything, really. Now, another thing to mention is I don't think we've ever seen the Steam Deck OLED sold out in their entire history as well. We've also never seen the Steam Deck OLEDs go on sale, unlike the original Steam Deck LCDs. Like, there's never been a Steam sale where we've seen the Steam Deck OLED go on sale. We've always seen the Steam Deck LCDs go on sale, but never the OLEDs, which I also find interesting as well.
What he just said, that's what I mean. So that gives you an idea about how the Steam machine is going to be and how it's going to be stuck like that. And if they have to jack the price up, that's going to suck because the only way you could see that possibly going down is if the market, you know, crashes and things get better. Other than that, yeah, when did the OLED go on sale? And you think about the Switch 2, I mean, it's cheaper. I mean, you know, so it's kind of a tough thing to think about. And if Valve is seeing that and they don't want to jack the price up of that, yeah, it looks like the Steam Deck may be dead at this point. Damn.
Really hard to gauge what Valve is doing because Valve is very secretive about a lot of things.
Yeah, they are.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes that we really don't know about Valve because Valve is just that kind of company. They're privately owned, so they never have to report anything. And being a private company in this case is a good thing for the most part. I just wish Valve were just a little more transparent with a lot of things. Of course, I have seen the Steam Deck LCD sold out, but that was primarily when it was brand new and people were trying to buy them in droves. The Steam Deck OLEDs though, I've never actually seen them sold out before. Like, a lot of people had Steam Deck LCDs already, and even the limited edition versions of the Steam Deck OLEDs took a little bit to sell, both the white and the original like transparent like black edition. Even that took a couple of days to sell out. Like, I honestly expected them to sell out day one, but they just didn't. Which tells me that the Steam Deck OLEDs were moving a lot slower than expected.
Yeah.
Part of me wishes this was just Valve gearing up towards a potential Steam Deck 2 announcement. But honestly, I would have imagined Valve would continue to sell the Steam Deck 1 as they develop the Steam Deck 2, you know, with an announcement and all. Like, if this really were just a supply chain issue and Valve were still intending to make more OLEDs, I feel like Valve would have put out a statement saying that more is on the way. Like, Valve has done this for the LCD, yet they have not done it for the OLED. And I think the worst possible outcome would be that Valve stopped making the Steam Deck almost entirely because it's unsustainably unaffordable to make. Like, I get it, the RAM situation is terrible, and it's not just about getting memory for the Steam Deck, it's about getting faster memory for the APU, because the APU does like faster memory. But it could also just be Valve being Valve and just leaving things up for interpretation, because like, yeah, Valve does that a lot. Now, of course, let's talk about what this means for your existing Steam Decks. Valve has promised updated support, and thanks to the fact that it's obviously a PC, even if Valve were to officially stop supporting the Steam Deck, the community can pick up the slack and just make things work. But if they really planned on making more OLEDs, I thought they would have put out a message by now. I'm just saying. If you like this video, please press the like button.
So yeah, guys, we pretty much see that. We see down here too, though his stuff just got started. I do have a theory they may halt the production of Steam Deck OLED so that Steam Machine can launch at an appropriate price, at least for the time being. Because where can you get the memory in a more sustainable amount? It actually makes sense where it's like, you got both parts. We're choosing to make stuff for the Steam Machine instead. And that's what I feel like, because they didn't get the parts that they wanted. So let me know what you guys think about this. Like, comment, subscribe. Hang in there if you can't get a Steam Deck. Sorry about that. Peace out. Later.